Pangkalikasan, Gopalakas.
Pleasant morning sa inyong lahat.
Hello.
Okay,
Good
good
morning
morning,
to
good morning.
everyone. Oo.
Good morning.
It's just a beautiful day this morning. Napakaliwalas. Then we can, right now, we can only share to everybody the beauty of the ocean that we are looking at right now sa harap namin.
Sarap ng simoy ng hangin.
It's so,
So refreshing to watch the ocean, no? Some people nga want to just take a break and, they have this kind of scenery. Just even looking at it actually is already very relaxed.
Yeah, it's very beneficial, the visuals. No?
And that is the topic of the day, talking about the ocean and the blessings we derive from the ocean.
yeah, many times because of, since the dawn when humans embrace an industrial way of life, yung buhay ba na pag sinabi natin kasing industrialization, our source of energy is from fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been going on for
Tagal na.
tagal na.
Mhm.
That since we fell in love with the use of oil, so we have been extracting this fuel from the ground for so many years, and we have been in the last 30 or 40 years we could have seen the impact of such use of fossil fuels sa atin. Now we're confronted by issues that has to do with changing climate. And one has to understand these factors that's going on. Kasi kadalasan because we're land-based. So,
Yes,
People,
we are.
people, di ba? We're land-based.
Terrestrial tayo.
So, hindi natin pinapansin masyado yung karagatan except siguro source lang ng resource na kakailanganin natin. But we never understand the dynamics that goes on in the ocean. Like now, we're confronted by changing climates, by changing weather conditions, di ba? At saka yung mga bagyo natin mas lumalakas. Pag umulan,
Kasi
monsoon
mainit.
kagad, masyadong malaki ang volume ng tubig. Tapos pagdating naman sa tag-araw, super init naman. So these are things that are we are getting confronted by. And it is something that has not been the fault of nature. It is the fault of us human beings. And we have not really gone to terms with this na, look, ano ba ang pwede kong gawin individually so that I can, kumbaga, what is my contribution to give balance back just so that in the future, may future looking din tayo. Kasi kung ganito na ang condition, if the situation today is the way it is, can you think about 20 years from now or 10 years from now?
Opo. Ibang-iba na. I mean, for sure, there will be drastic changes.
Meron na.
We're already faced with it.
Yes.
So let's talk about the ocean. Let's talk about what the ocean really is. Alam niyo, ating karagatan, 3/4 of the planet is covered with water. Diba? Ito salty, maalat. So there's a reason for it because salt makes it so that the density of the water, kumbaga may kapal siya. Then when the sun hits the ocean, it bounces. Tsaka it has the ability to cool it, yung heat mismo coming from the sun. So, alalahanin natin, our climate is totally dependent on the temperature of the ocean that surrounds all the land. Alalahanin niyo yung circulation ng tubig, yung ocean currents. Hindi ba sa north and south of our planet, hindi ba yellow?
poles.
yung
the
poles.
Poles,
Oo,
diba?
North and the
poles.
South Pole.
Tapos yung central is the tropics, correct?
Oo.
Tapos before, in between, ito na yung mga temperate zones, di ba? Reason for that is because the currents, nagsisirculate yan from the north and the south pole towards the center. So, kumbaga, nung inaangat niya yung tubig, sinicirculate niya yung currents. Kaya may ocean currents tayo. Yan ang nangyayari sa ating karagatan. So,
And the currents bring the nutrients, di ba?
yes,
Sinicirculate niya
sinicirculate niya rin yung nutrients
Mhm.
sa palibot. Hindi lang yan yung, sige, pagkaroon ng palamig, o
Oo.
nagsisirculate para balance yung temperature ng ating karagatan. Okay? Now, one has to understand that it is not just the mere, kasi katulad sa atin, we're land-based, we live in the land, hindi ba how the temperature affects our living condition? Kunyari, pag masyadong malamig, hindi ba, we adapt to it. Or if the weather is changing, certain places, kunyari right now, in the northern hemisphere, they're having winter storms. Winter storms sila, talagang one of those settings, like it's not only a few states or a few countries that are experiencing this, but massive places are experiencing winter storms. Napakalamig naman. Kaya minsan sasabihin ng tao, ano ba yung climate change? Umiinit ang planeta, pero ba't nangyayari yung winter storms? Like,
Extreme weathers.
Extremes ang nangyayari.
Kasi the earth is trying to find balance.
Yes,
di ba?
that's basically what is going on.
Mm-mm.
Ngayon, so, kung ano dapat, kunyari, umiinit na masyado rito, o kaya dito sa tropics natin, umiinit na masyado yung ating karagatan. So, what will happen to the marine life? What is the impact of that?
And they're supposed to live within a certain temperature,
Exactly.
hindi
Oo,
ba?
oo.
Parang tayo din, kailangan to survive, meron tayong certain
Yes.
temperature.
Not
di ba?
only us, kasi minsan, kadalasan tayo lang, sarili lang natin iniisip kung ano yung comfort natin. Ngunit yung iba pang mga uring living beings,
Oh, even the plants. They need a
plants,
certain
birds,
condition.
lahat yan, which contribute to the overall balance of nature. Di ba? In land, sa karagatan, ganun din. Hindi lang nagbabago ngayon ang temperature ng ating karagatan dahil yun nga, apektado na yung sa ocean currents natin. Pangalawa, what is causing all of this instability? Again, it has to do, it's humans,
Tayo na naman may
taong may
kasalanan.
kasalanan niya.
We destroy the balance.
We destroy the balance of the land and we're destroying the balance also of the ocean. Kumbaga
Oo nga.
yung sa green and blue. The whole planet.
Oo.
So may kasalanan tayo para kung bakit umiinit yung panahon, kung bakit nagkakaroon ng extreme weather changes.
Yeah, because of our
Oo.
use of fossil
Yes,
fuels.
because
Oo.
1/2 of all the carbon that is being used, that goes to the atmosphere, is absorbed by the ocean. Kalahati.
Through the planktons.
Through the
Oo.
planktons. Ito yung maliliit na
Mga life there.
organismo
Oo.
na sa ilalim ng dagat. Basta they're all over this ocean
They take it from the surface and store it
and
down.
store it on the ground, under
Under the ocean.
under the
Bottom
ocean.
of
The
the sea.
plankton does this. But ngayon, dahil because of climate issues, yung changing yan, or may isa pa to alam nyo yung tinatawag natin, I think I mentioned this in the past, yung acidification.
Oo.
Yung nagiging acidic yung ating karagatan.
Because also of the too much carbon.
Because
diba?
of too much
Oo.
carbon. This
So
is what they
basically,
explain.
ang dapat hindi siya acidic, dapat
Oo.
neutral
Yes,
or
yes.
Dapat balance
May
nga niya.
pH balance dapat
Oo.
yan you know.
Kasi
Katulad ng,
sobra yung carbon na napupunta sa dagat. It also aids in this acidification.
so nakaka-acidification ang nangyayari. So when this takes place, siyempre, yung katulad ng tao, pag naging acidic yung dugo natin, di ba?
Kasakit tayo.
Yan tayo nagkakasakit. So may balance pa rin yan. So what happens is because there's acidification, many of the marine life begins to die or are dying. Kaya yung coral natin naging namumuti.
Oo. Tsaka those with shells, that destroys their shells. Eh.
This,
Yung acid water,
Oh.
Yes. oo.
nakakapanghina nung kanilang mga
shell
Yeah.
yung
sila.
shell
Yeah,
structure
which is their
niya.
protection,
Oo.
di ba?
Kaya katulad sa tao.
Nagiging marupok, nagiging
Pag
parang
naging-
corroded,
Oo, kunyari
humihina.
acidic yung mataas ang acidity ng ating dugo. Hindi masyadong balanse yan. So, siyempre, nakakaroon tayo ng mga bone issues.
Mm-mm.
So, similarly, sa karagatan, ganun na nangyayari. Pag may acidification taking place, so lahat ng mga marine life na may shell yung kanilang katawan, yan, vital
in
pa
or
ng,
out,
in or out. Yan, turtles for example, dito tayo, may programa tayo dito sa La Union called Kurma.
Yeah.
And can you imagine a soft-shell turtle? How will she survive?
Mm-mm.
May purpose yung shell na yun eh.
Oo.
May purpose yun eh. Ngayon, ang nangyayari dito, for example, dahil tropical marine sea turtles, dahil naiinitan sila dito sa ating karagatan,
Tsaka nagbabago yung currents.
nagbabago yung
Oo.
currents, sasabayan kasi nila yung currents.
Oh, they use the currents to travel.
To travel.
Oo. Nabago ng currents.
Nababago yung currents. There's some of these varieties of sea turtle that is found here, that we find here
The olive
nesting, the
ridley.
olive ridley or the green turtle, is now finding its way to America.
Yun naman tropical doon, di ba?
Hindi.
Biglang napadpad siya ng Amerika.
So,
Kasi
yung,
weird yung movement.
yung weird yung movement ng currents,
nagkakagulo-gulo.
napapadpad sila. Tapos, isa pa, they also follow where the ideal temperature is.
Nahanap nila yung food nila rin.
Nahanap rin nila kung nasaan yung pagkain nila. Since meron yung tinatawag na certain living, kumbaga nagmamigrate na rin sila. It's moving with the current.
And they get stranded in the wrong places.
Kunyari, nakitlog sila sa isang lugar, abutin sila ng winter time doon o taglamig, they basically die in the shorelines.
Meron
of
pa nga
these
nun
places.
instance nga merong mga massive group of sea turtles nag-lay ng eggs in the wrong place.
Right.
And they had to, kumbaga, take them out and then ship them via FedEx to another state where where it was warmer. Kasi kung hindi, magiging frozen eggs yung mga
Yes.
No, and
Ganyan.
the adult turtles, kung na-stranded sila, within the hour dapat makuha mo sila eh. Otherwise, they're going to shock. They get a hypothermia.
May hypothermia.
Nag-give out
hypothermia
yung
sila.
mga organs nila.
So similarly sa atin, ganun nga na-experience natin. So when we deal with the ocean, the impact of the use
Ano pala, nagsasuffer na yung mga creatures sa ocean.
Marami
Kahit
na.
ngayon, nararamdaman din nila yung climate change.
Right.
Yes,
In
oo.
other words, they're going through they're experiencing the difficulties. Kasi
Actually, marami ng extinction nangyayari pati.
kaya nga tayo minsan ang init na ng panahon,
Oo.
o kaya sabihin sa Amerika, ang lamig na ng winter.
Yeah.
Ganun din pala yung nangyayari sa mga
Right.
residents ng karagatan, hindi ba, ng ocean.
Yeah. And then yun nga yung movement na, because the currents are wrong, the nutrients are not spread around. They need these nutrients to grow.
Mm-mm.
So it's contributing to extinction of a lot of marine species.
So, hindi
Yeah,
lang
so-
kayang mag-complain ng mga sea turtles,
Oh.
pero na hirap na rin sila.
Okay, kaya nga, for example, with the turtles, all other marine life,
Mm-mm.
di ba dito sa ating bansa, ang dami natin mga location na tawag these are supposed to be protected areas.
NPA,
These are marine
protected
protected areas.
Oo.
Kaya ang problema natin, minsan kahit nga na dineclare natin ito, yung impact o yung nakakahadlang sa kanila o nakakasira dito sa marine protected area, nagagaling sa kalupaan. Ito yung mga pollution na pumapasok.
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah.
Some of these places, siyempre, some of the marine protected areas, ang dami ng taong nakatira.
Mm-mm.
These are coastal places. Here, for
Maging
example, in La Union, we have close to 14 marine protected areas. And most of it are in the 14 major towns of the province. And all of this, ang dami ng tao. So lahat ng pollution, hindi lang yung plastic. Kasi tayo, iniisip lang natin yung pollution ng plastic. Number 3 tayo sa world polluters ng plastic sa karagatan. But we are not measuring the amount of pollution ng liquid naman.
Mm-mm.
Oh, naku, pati yung mga sewage. No?
Tapos
Tsaka
hindi
mga
natin naisip,
industrial waste,
hindi
yung
natin naisip yung, again, yung fossil fuel natin, yung mga carbon na sa area natin. Tapos, bumabagsak yan o sucked up by the ocean.
O
Yun ang
yung mga
nangyayari.
nagsusunog sa mountainside sa umaga, napunta
Yes.
sa dagat.
So these are all situations
Mga
on the
usok.
technical side. Ito yung nangyayari para maintindihan natin lahat. So anyway, bago tayo tumuloy, batiin natin muna yung mga ating mga nakikinig. Si Kalindi Relova, always present. Nitz Lopez Capin. Okay, good morning sa
From
inyo.
Davao
Yes.
de Oro.
Then Maria Mariel Go. Yes. Good morning.
Myra Maria. Yes.
Okay.
Ivy and Ruben.
Lontok.
Lontok. Vina, Pascua, hello from Baguio.
Uy, ang dami na.
Yes, there's so many.
Sina, Gemini Rose. Okay.
But anyway, let's discuss this matter because something for us as human beings, we have to understand. Because we have that capacity to actually feel for many things. We are gifted with that. Our mind, our senses are so vast yan. Kumbaga capacity-wise, kayang-kaya natin maintindihan ito. But unfortunately, we tend to misuse this. And we don't, the issue with it is we don't kind of think of our neighbors and we only consider our neighbors yung talagang immediate kapitbahay ko, kamag-anak ko, but never all the other living entities.
Lalo na sa dagat kasi we don't really see what's under the water.
Yes.
So it's easy for us to forget that there are all these entities living there.
Oo. Millions, billions, mas marami pa sigurong kesa sa tao
kasi
yung
that
mga
covers
nandyan
more of the earth than the land.
Yung daughter ko nagda-diving and she said that one time she was in the deep sea and there were a huge school of fish surrounding her and they were just like moving past. Minsan binabangga siya, dinadaanan siya. And her realization was, I feel I'm an intruder here. Sabi niya gano'n. It's like that's their territory. Pero siya, nandun, sabi, sino ba itong nakabalandra dito, So basically, there are really residents in the ocean and that, really, they exist and they need a certain environment to continue to survive.
For example,
they actually help us survive.
Yeah.
There's another contributing factor that is due to humans. This is yung overfishing na tinatawag.
Ay, naku.
Kasi pag sinabi natin overfishing, naisip lang natin yung mga isdang kakainin natin. Yan yung kinakain ng tao. Ngunit, yung mga ibang isda, katulad ng mga pating, kasi pag narinig natin yung pating, ayaw natin ng mga pating, di ba? Negative yung dating ng mga pating. Di ba?
But they have a role,
But may role yung mga yan. Napaka-importante ng role nila. Ngayon, may nangyayari, pag sinabing overfishing, may mga lugar kung saan sila, mas lalo kasi ngayon, yung mga ginagamit nilang mga barko, nets, lahat nahuhuli.
Ang lalaki ng net, tapos ang lilit ng butas.
May nakukuha ang mga pating, yung mga ganyang uri. Minsan, puro pating nga daw yung nahuhuli.
Kahit nga turtle, nahahalo.
So ngayon, when you start taking them away, kasi alalahanin nyo kung ano yung size ng isang uring marine entity, kunyari malaki talaga siya, siyempre, napakahaba ng panahon para siya lumaki na gano'n. Time, may time factor. So we tend to, since take them away or take them out, we fish them out of the ocean. So nangyayari, yung mga ganyan kasi, sila yung mga nagko-contain ng population ng
the other fish.
Ng other fish para hindi dumami yung iba.
So they're maintaining a balance.
Nagme-maintain sila ng balance. So we should always, okay, what do we need to do here?
So in effect, parang poachers sila, no? They're after the fish, pero nakukuha rin nila yung other.
At saka hindi ba, isa pang nakasira rin dyan yung dynamite fishing.
Exactly.
Di ba yung practices nila ng, meron pa rin hanggang ngayon, wag nating isipin na tinapos na yung ganyang strategy. Meron pa rin gumagamit ng dynamite.
Ang daming destruction.
It kills everything under the water,
So let's say, what do we do here? So that's why this is something that's an individual thing. Kasi unang-una, as human beings, we have the potential. Kasi kumbaga, ang payo sa atin, to learn to be caring. This is the key here. And that we have to always be future-looking on this one. No? So, there are other things in how tayo mismo apektado nito eh. We're basically killing the future of many of our generation.
Mm-mm.
On
Yeah.
health situation, for example.
Yeah, but we really need to take care of the ocean because the ocean takes care of us. As he mentioned, no, a lot of the water covers the planet, right? And it cleans our air and it also gives us oxygen. In fact, this oxygen, di ba sinasabi, when you go by the ocean, meron dyan negative ions, no? These negative ions are very helpful for our bodies kasi it makes our absorption of oxygen better. No, that's why, at saka, look, for example, when I was a child, I was asthmatic. Ang laging ginagawa ng father ko, dadalhin ako near Manila Bay. No, because just the air from the ocean when we're breathing it,
Yes.
it clears your head, it clears your lungs, it makes your organs function better. No, for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, doctors have always been saying, oh, you go to the ocean, pagka may sakit, di ba? Gagaling ka dyan. You know? Eh ngayon, ang dagat natin, ako, hindi na ganun kaganda. We have to pick where to go, right? So we need to take care of the ocean kasi there's so many physical benefits. Di ba, when we go to the ocean, wala pa nga tayo doon, excited na tayo, masaya tayo. It works on our mood right away. Being in the sun, in the fresh air, running around the sand. When you're at the beach, you feel like moving, di ba? Just walking on the sand already is good exercise kasi it takes more effort than walking on cement yung flat lamang. Tsaka the sand is uneven, di ba? So when you're walking, you have to balance and everything. So it makes your balance better, no? Especially, which is really important, especially as you age, because we tend to fall easily. Yeah, and also, sand is actually little sharp things yan eh. But because they're so small, hindi siya masakit. But just walking on that, it makes your feet smoother.
It's fine corals, basically. Kaya pag
Yes,
nagtataka kayo kung ano yung, ba't ganyan yung kulay ng aming buhang, white sand dito, o sa Boracay, white sand.
Oh.
Para bigyan nyo ang ano niyan, it's because the coral, it's a coral thing.
Yeah, it's a crushed.
Crushed coral.
Hindi yan dahil madumi yung sand dito sa area na ito kaya itim yung sand. Hindi
No,
dumi
it's
yun.
what
Yes.
it's made of.
O meron pang black
Composition
sand.
yan.
Yeah,
Yes.
it has to do with the corals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, when you're at the beach, syempre, you go swimming. Seawater is full of minerals and salts and things like that. Yeah, that's really good for our skin. It's good for, some of it even gets absorbed into our body. And it helps us remove inflammation. It even relaxes our system.
Detox.
Yeah,
Kasi hindi ba may
detox
mga
tayo.
massage
It's a natural detox. Eh. Puro
They
ano
use salts
Yeah,
for
they
They cover
massage.
you in salt.
Oo. And then there's also meron mga bath sa bathtub maglalagay ka ng salt.
Epsom
Hindi ba
salts.
mga certain
Oo,
salts
pang-relax.
pang
Oo.
diyan, pang detox rin,
Yes.
di ba?
And just being in the water, when you swim in the ocean water, of course, meron siyang parang feeling of walang gravity, di ba? It's very, very good for our joints. It makes your joints more relaxed. So if you have problems like arthritis, swimming in the ocean is really good. And because when you swim, you're on this position, the heart is functioning, but it's not getting a hard time. It's actually working in a very easy way.
Parang
Yeah?
yung aerobics na sa sa mga water, aqua
aerobics. Yeah.
aquarobics,
Yeah.
parang mas gentle siya.
Yeah,
Exactly.
aquatherapy.
Yes.
There's an
You're
aquatherapy
getting a
program.
whole body exercise without harming any parts of your body.
Plus, you have to understand our body is 60% water.
Oh, parang at home din siya there. Although we are terrestrial, at home siya sa water. Because also our blood is kind of salty, no? May salinity rin in our body. So parang relax ka. And because we're so relaxed, our nerves are good, our mood is good, So hindi lang physical ang ating nakukuhang benefits sa ocean. It's also really good for your mental state.
Alalahanin nyo, hindi ba? Nasaan yung one of the most expensive real estates sa
By
ating
the
bansa?
beach.
By the
Oo.
beach. Ayan yan, hindi ba?
Yeah.
And many of us, we have very fond memories of going to the beach, to the beaches, di ba, when we were young. Di ba? So these are things that are so
Healthy.
that is our connectivity with it,
Oo.
and that we are all benefiting from
Yeah.
the presence of the blue environment. Just
Kahit
as we-
nga pagka kulang ka sa tulog, insomniac ka, kahit yun, nare-relieve sa sa beach. Kasi in the first place, nag-exercise ka.
Mhm.
Nandun ka sa sun, you had good air.
Mhm.
Being in the sun kasi, it reboots your body clock
Mhm.
So it helps you, sleep when it's time to sleep.
So, sa ating mga tagapakinig, our friends, if you have anything you want put forward for suggestion, please, type it
Batiin
up.
natin,
Let's discuss
mahaba-haba
it,
yung listahan na natin ngayon. Oy, ang haba.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Harry Umol from Ilocos.
Kath Nanta,
Mm-mm.
Vishnu Maluya, and Mary Salazar from Baguio, and Rosita Benedicto, and Catrino Resurrection,
He's from
Rosalinda,
Cavite, yeah.
Rosalinda Lascano,
From Okinawa.
Karkar Abode, okay, Henry Yumol, and Angel Gonzalo. And then from Luntian, ano ba yun,
Karihan.
Karihan, okay,
Yeah.
Rina Gal, and Gemini Rose Go, Cynthia Obmerga. Pero may komento sa atin si J Resurrection, pero may komento si Nitz. Sabi niya, Tito Tita, may I know those who are selling fish for the aquarium, is that helpful for the aqua creatures na ilagay sila sa isang aquarium?
Gusto mo kaya ilagay sa aquarium ito?
Siyempre
Parang
ako,
nasa
yan,
preso.
guilty ako dyan. Kasi nung bata ako napakahilig kong mag-alaga ng isda. Alam nyo, iba-ibang uring mga isda ang inaalagaan mo.
But having pets in a way helps you nurture, di ba?
Basta alagaan mo lang ng gusto. Alam natin na ito ay basta sa panahon ngayon kasi ilan sa atin, alam nyo, ang aquarium nasa telepono na lang yung mga ngayon tinitingnan na lang nila sa kanilang mga hindi
Gadgets.
nila sa mga gadgets. Ganyan na lang ngayon Kaya maganda rin, alam nyo, sa totoo lang. If you can take care of them, that's fine. Alagaan nyo na gusto. Libangan din yan it's like, it connects you to the real world too. It connects you to be caring. Yun ang kagandahan niya. There are, for others, actually, that's their therapy.
Oh yeah.
Therapeutic yan
Pero give them naman space.
But syempre,
Don't
give
put a
them
big
space.
fish in a small container.
Tsaka meron naman yung mga iba, they just keep them. Lalaki na ng mga isda kasi mahal daw yung gano'n. Swerte naman yan. Di ba? May mga gano'n mga practice.
When you go to a store, they have this, I forgot what you call those big fish.
Napakamahal ng mga isda na yun.
Kawawa naman. Kasi
sabi nila, habang meron yan, yung mother ko nga hanggang ngayon, yung mga pating niyan, lalaki na. These are freshwater sharks. She still has all of those. And every time you go there, we were young. We would remember going to those ponds all the time, cleaning. We get really involved,
Learn to take care.
Learn to take good care of
You're
them.
nurturing.
It's a nurturing
ability
nature,
grows.
and you understand it more. Kaya ako happen now, because as a child, we were always surrounded by so much animals, from birds, parakeets, pigeons,
Pigs. Ang
lahat
daming
na lang.
bilang animals.
I was raised this way. Kaya eventually, I looked at the situation where pagdating sa taking care of bees, taking care of plants, taking care of trees, this became something that you'll always look forward to. Not because it's, the reason is simply because, it relaxes you to be around them too. Ngayon, I'm surrounded by the forest creatures.
Oh, there's something shared by Katrina.
Okay, share ko lang po. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, February 12, 2015 report, natural water flow into the ocean is being replaced by flows of polluted farm flow of animal agriculture.
Yan na nga.
It is the leading cause of species extinction, ocean dead zones, water pollution, and habitat destruction.
Oh, that's the one that
Thank
makes...
you so much for that information.
Kaya nagiging
Katrina.
acidic.
Yes,
Dahil
this
dyan.
acidification, because to further, maybe for the information of everyone, at this very moment, there's close to 50 billion heads of livestock in the world.
Naku.
And the amount of manure they produce,
It ends up in the water.
it ends up
Oo.
mostly in the rivers and the ocean. And then another
50 billion.
another
Kadami.
factor that that one has to understand that to support that 50 billion, you would require millions of hectares of land. That's why the Amazon, kahit dito sa ating bansa, kita niyo, naubos ang mga puno natin.
Mm-mm.
Isang contributing factor is because of animal agriculture. Now, there are many alternatives for food, that provide better health for humans and for the planet. But when animal agriculture is supported like this, for example, dito sa ating bansa ngayon, nasa news this past,
Tagal na, ilang
kahapon
weeks
pa,
na yata.
yung African swine flu.
Oo. Last year pa yun, bago
Last year pa to.
mag-COVID eh.
Akala nila nako-contain natin, kaya natin i-contain yan. Hindi. By the time they actually figure it out, huli na eh. Naikalat na eh. Alalahanin nyo, virus ito. So ngayon, problema yung production, ang dami nilang kinakatay, ang daming problema ngayon. Nalulugi
At saka
lahat.
actually, dead. I mean, yung
Double
mga
dead.
lumulutang na nga daw sa dagat, hindi ba tinatapon na lang para
Yeah.
i-dispose,
Ayun na
And
nga.
these
di ba?
We're talking about the ocean, pero the things we do on land is really affecting the ocean.
In the animal agriculture, the statistic is almost 18% of the pollution in the planet is due to the animal agriculture's contribution. These are foods for thought for us to have to think, that we have to examine these factors. That we ourselves are contributing to the very destruction of this planet. And if we are actually caring, we should also think of the future.
So,
We have to be future looking all the time. Ngayon, if the animal agriculture is causing such a, kasi maraming alternatives eh.
Oo,
kaya naman
marami
may
na
mga
ngayon.
nagvi-vegan na nga.
Yes.
That's how they're contributing. Maybe
Plant-based
lessen my
diet.
consumption
A
of
plant-based
meat.
diet
Oo.
sila, or at least
At least cut some of your consumption.
minimize. Di ba?
Malaking
Oo.
bagay na rin yan. Nakakatulong.
So ang pinaka natin is our contribution to protecting the ocean is
Oo.
actually by also changing our diet or improving our,
Our
diet
lifestyle.
and our
Lifestyle.
lifestyle. Yeah.
Or maybe even the way we see things actually.
Oo.
On the end
And
of the
then-
day, it's a consciousness change.
Oo.
Yes.
Oo.
Now,
We
you
have
know,
some
when you
contribution
when
to
you begin to indulge in certain things that is
Uh-uh.
not contributory to your health physically
that. Mm-mm.
and mentally, then that's also something that equals ano yan. It's not good for the environment. Look at it
Actually,
that way,
the
And the
benefits.
other way around. No?
Meron benefits then. My daughter was telling me about a certain creature from the ocean that actually they use in medicine.
Mhm.
They extract
marami.
they extract the blood.
Mhm.
When the bloodletting that they strap them down and then they will extract the blood and then they will let them go, but 10 to 30% no namamatay
Mhm.
because of that process,
Mhm.
Ginagamit to ng mga pharmaceutical companies to determine if there is contamination of bacteria in a certain medicine or a certain substance. Pero tignan mo yung nangyayari sa creatures. Kumbaga, ginagamit sila ng tao,
Exploited.
no? And then they are actually in a way tortured that way, But
Also, again, it's also many times when we don't live an ideal way,
mm-mm.
our diet is not good, we don't exercise, our environment is not good, our water is polluted, daming ganun na factors. So where do you look for remedies? You go back to nature,
Mm.
Oo.
Yeah.
okay? But yet, if you correct or make changes in your own way of life,
Mm-mm.
right? You would not have to exploit
Oo.
the other creatures. And you will live a healthy life.
Actually,
You know.
bakit may mga ibang countries nag-aagawan sa mga certain areas kasi diyan gusto nilang exploit yung resources.
Oo.
Hindi ba yun
Kaya
ang
ito nga, sa harap
intention
natin,
nila?
yung karagatan
Oo.
sa harap natin,
Oo.
ganun yan eh.
Kaya
Pinaglalabanan.
pinag-aawayan dahil sa resources. Pero if we all have a simple life, then we will not be so,
Then always
desperate
share.
to actually claim so many things that, mamaya, actually, ibang tao magpapatayan pa sa mga ganyan eh. No? So, actually, here we have another person who greeted us, si Malit De Leon. Okay?
Oh, hello.
Oo.
Yes.
And we would like to for now, I would like to share naman some proverbs from different cultures regarding the ocean. I'm sorry, it's not environmental, but it's more for values.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, we have to change our values
Oo.
para we can value what we have.
Yes. So meron sinasabi dito, with a frog in the well, you don't talk about the ocean. Okay.
Hindi niya maintindihan.
Hindi siya pwedeng makinig dito sa Gopalakas discussion. Bakit ano ba yung comparison ng frog in the well? Because the frog in the well has a very limited perception. Kumbaga yung mundo niya hanggang dun lang siya. No? So wala siyang outward vision. Kaya sinasabi ni Tito Toby, future looking. I'm sorry, the frog cannot have that. So similarly, there are people who are like that. Ano sila, sarado, narrow-minded. And if you try to talk to them about bigger things or higher vision, higher values, sarado na po sila.
He doesn't get
Oo,
it.
Maybe we can look at they can look at it in another angle. The angle of look, yeah, we are responsible beings. We're responsible for our actions. So we have to also be mindful of our actions
Yes.
and how it's affecting not only ourselves, our families, but also the environment itself.
Oo.
Siguro-
Hopefully, the frog knows how to take care of his well.
Oh, baka hindi, tanggalin natin siya sa well para lumaki
Hindi
na ng
naman
konti yung
mathrow sa ocean
Eh, yung
yung
frog
frog.
naman alam nyo yung frog, hindi naman talaga siya permanently sa well. Nahulog lang
nahulog
siguro
lang
sa
siya
well.
sa kadiliman. Nahulog lang siya doon kaya
Well, of
medyo
course, not all analogies are never perfect. But they help.
okay. Sabi naman din dito, better a drop of wisdom than an ocean of gold. Okay? So, in terms ang ocean, napakalawak. Imagine if somebody will say, okay, my gift for you this Christmas is an ocean of gold. Okay? But more important than that and more valuable than that is a drop of wisdom. Okay, so magpasalamat tayo for wisdom. Baka ang dami nating sinishare na wisdom. Maraming ocean na tayong mapupuno. Okay, in
What
this
we need is an ocean of wisdom.
ocean of wisdom. Wow, wise man na tayo pag ganyan. Tsaka marami tayong matutulungan. Marami tayong mababago for the better with wisdom. Hindi ba? Talagang we can inspire people to make changes and this will be very good for the whole planet.
It changes,
Tignan mo,
you know,
just like
changes.
di ba changing use of fossil fuels? Ang dami naman source of energy ngayon.
Changes
We
begin
have
with
the
us.
wind,
It's just
the
like
waves, the water.
sometimes we
Ang
always
daming
tend
ways
to,
to get
kumbaga na yung conditioning to
energy.
change or when we're subjected to change, dito tayo nagre-resist eh.
Oo.
We embrace a certain habit kasi eh. And not only individually, but as a society and as a people, we were dictated to live this way. That ganito dapat tayo. We will be educated this way. Lahat ng bagay, ganito. Eh ngayon, nagbago na yung dynamics sa mundo natin.
My daughter was telling me, sabi niya, yung brother niya may naiwan daw dun sa bahay. Tapos, I forgot my wallet. Tapos isa, I forgot my keys. I forgot my mask and my face shield. You know, yung mga bagong changes that people are having to adopt to
Plus,
with this pandemic.
If you look at it, how did it take place? Why did it take place? You go mindfully try to analyze these things. Like even with the pandemic, for example, you know, every so often we do face a pandemic in the whole world,
Yes.
like what we have.
Yes.
But many speak about those, the scientists in the medical field, alam nila lahat. Those who are environmentalists, they know that these viruses are present in our planet. And that, pinatay mo yung ano eh.
Sinira
Yung
kasi
host,
yung balance.
ay yung kumbaga ano, yung kung saan sila dapat nakatira.
Saan
Nasira
sila?
yung balance.
Nakawala
So ngayon,
tuloy.
Ito tayo ngayon, we need to change and we need to adapt. You know, make sure that we are learning and looking into ways that, hey, there has to be a change. We need to analyze and change the way we are, the way we live. You know?
Actually, even, that wearing of a mask, before when there was no COVID yet, pag may mga sipon ng mga tao, o kaya nilalagnat, o papasok sa opisina, okay lang ako kasi magtatrabaho ko kahit meron akong sipon at saka ubo,
Mas importante yung trabaho ko kaysa sa...
Oo.
Di ba?
So
May ganun
there's
yan.
no protection, they're not
They're
worried
spreading.
about spreading it, but now parang biglang na it's important na magmask ka talaga if you're sick and to protect people, hindi
Kaya
ba?
lang, merong tao talagang hindi marunong mag-isip sa iba. Recently in Boracay, di ba may mga nagpunta
Oo,
doon
may
na may sakit pala sila. They just had fake,
fake results ng,
Yeah.
oo,
Naku
ng mga swab
naman,
O tingnan
test.
niyo
please.
yan, desperate na makapunta sa karagatan. Pero
Yes,
hindi
kaya
inisip
lang,
yung impact.
oo, paano naman yung ibang tao?
We all know that, we have some,
We're
our,
drawn to the
our
ocean.
countries, the country we live in
Surrounded by
is
ocean.
surrounded by gems of
Yes.
nature.
Oo.
We should look at it that way.
Oo, hindi lang sa Boracay ang magandang beach.
You know, yung pag sinabi natin gems, the nature, the way it's designed. I mean, Palawan is one of the best islands in the planet.
Mm-mm.
What does it have?
Kasi
The best
nalagaan
natural
nila eh.
features that you can imagine. That's why people are
Yes.
drawn to it.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
But there are other places that are this way in our country.
Mm-mm.
Now, the reason why it's this is because nature and all of its components of living and non-living,
Mm.
that
Organisms. No?
organisms, they interact with their environment to be able to sustain the beauty and the pristinity of such an environment.
Mm-mm.
But here we are, okay, we tend to ignore many of these things because we're just after our own personal experience
Mm-mm.
and not
Walang
minding
wisdom.
others
Mm-mm.
and the impact of the way we
Selfish.
live our life to the very environment we live in. And because of this, it also affects our consciousness.
Mm-mm.
Kasi it's our consciousness that makes us act this way.
Mm-mm.
Oo, hindi na naisip yung iba.
Oo.
Yeah, kasi ganun na nangyayari. We become just, kumbaga, narrow and not broad.
Eh kung yung mga tao na turista, hindi nila inisip yung mga ibang tao dun sa Boracay, ano po kaya isipin natin? Yung residents ng ocean.
Mm.
You know, it cannot expand that way kasi very limited nga lang yung
Oo,
kanilang
masyadong
iniisip.
makasarili.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
So there's another quote from the Africans. Eyes that have seen the ocean cannot be satisfied by a mere lagoon or lake. Okay.
May higher taste na siya.
Pag
ano?
ikaw naka-experience ng ocean, 'di ba? Ay maliit lang yung tubig na 'yan, 'di ba? Yung lake or lagoon. Because we see the expansiveness of the ocean and it also has a certain effect na naha-humble tayo. Kumbaga yung appreciation natin kasi mighty ang power ng ocean ma-witness natin by looking at the ocean. And somehow or the other, wow, this is
Sometimes
such a
it also
great
expands
experience.
your consciousness,
Oo.
di ba?
Yes,
Mm-mm.
oo. So, basically speaking, itong mga ganitong experiences, just even seeing the ocean can make you think about the source of the ocean, the source of the beauty, the source of the splendor, and so beautiful pa pag may sunset over
Yeah,
the
or
ocean sa
sunrise,
horizon.
depending where you
Oo.
are. Oo.
So these make you remember the supreme being, the source of it, of all the beauty. So it's a very deep experience. It's a bit, parang meditation yun eh.
Yes.
It is
Parang
meditation.
meditative.
Diba?
Actually, that's one of the effects of being in the ocean. The
Mm-mm.
rhythm of the waves puts you in a meditative state.
And also, see, if we connect with the natural settings that we have, and health-wise, physically and mentally, it tunes it.
Mm-mm.
And then why? Why do you need such a thing? Why do you need such an experience? Because with such experience, we can broaden our perspective and look at things in a different way.
Mm-mm.
We can go deeper or higher in our consciousness,
Mm.
which humans are meant to be doing.
Mm.
Not
Yes.
degrading ourselves. In the process, as we degrade ourselves because of our thinking and our actions, we tend to degrade everything else around
Oo
us.
nga. Naku.
It goes with the package.
Mm-mm.
Yun ang nangyayari. So, it is by nature we should be uplifting.
Yeah.
Let's say we ask each of us who are here in this thread, tanong natin sa isa-isa, what is my contribution? How do I analyze the situation the way I live my life? How much am I taking away from nature and I'm giving back?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
What do I do? What am I contributing and what am I taking?
Mm-mm.
May ganun dapat ang buhay natin eh. There has to be that balance.
Mm-mm.
And also, on the end of the day, yung simplicity in the way of our thinking and in our way we live our lives. a tendency for that is we begin to be more introspective
Yeah.
in life.
Yes.
You know, without such introspection, we will not feel the very essence of why and the purpose of why we exist. And the, you know, on the end of the day, everything that we have, you know, our physical needs or whatever it is, dadaan at dadaan lang yan. And at the end of the day, what is more important in our lives? Diba?
Sana now, no, at the end of our show, we would like you to meditate, think about what you can do to turn the tide of destruction that we have brought on the earth, on the planet, on the ocean.
You know, I was in a class in a Zoom meeting. It was a class actually. I was talking to young people. Majority of those who were in that group were all city dwellers, and sometimes it scares you. Me, for example, no, I know the extent of what and the quality of life that we can embrace and how we can live our life. And where do you find true happiness? That is far reaching in your life. That is eternal. But the tendency is we try to find that in this world. And young people today, the tendency is when you think of nature, you think of farms, it's like, wow, ang hirap naman ng buhay na ganyan. You know? Walang mga, alam nyo, pag kayo ay nasa bundok o nasa kagubatan, yung connection dyan, iba. Iba yung connection. Hindi yung, ay, wala akong signal dito. Alam nyo, when you go to the forest, ang daming ibang signal na nakakashoot ng loob ng isang tao.
Meron,
Okay,
There's
let's,
a comment,
before we go.
the-
There's Francis Mina, good morning, si Gemini Rose, and
You have
Paul
people.
Dixon.
Paul
Oh.
Dixon. Carmen Padriga, Lester Padriga, and of course from NITS.
Oh, Lester.
Yeah, he has
How are
feedback
you,
for
Lester?
Yes,
He's from Seattle.
Yeah. And it says, thank you of my new learning. A drop of wisdom is better than an ocean of gold. Yes, simplicity in living can make a person can't make a person add stress. God bless Gopalakas. Thank you very much, Nitz. And to all the others who always comment and greet us, you know, we're very happy you are actually joining us for our radio show. It's wonderful to have your association every showtime.
And you know, again, as human beings, let us all be, there's a higher purpose in our life. And we should make this place a better world. How else can we do that?
Let's act responsibly.
And share the wisdom and knowledge to people. Again, to everybody, maraming
Okay,
salamat. Thank you so
all.
much. And we'll see you again.
See you next week.
Next week.
Yes, thank you for
Bye.
joining us.
Ingat kayo.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, Gopalakas. Haribo ni Tagore, Haribo. Haribo ni Tagore, Haribo.